Hello, what ABD tools are going to be talking about today is fitting of one of these simple things, which is called obviously a radiator valve, and this one here is an angle pattern radiator valve. Obviously that's a radiator and the pipe's already in, ready to feed the radiator, so we need to fit this radiator between there and there. Now this is a 1/2 inch BSP type radiator, which is very common, so that's the most common type pipe, 15mm, ready to go in the bottom of there. And these valves split into two parts with a nut, always a nut in between, so that piece separates from the valve. So this is the piece we're talking about now, which is called the tail piece, and it's the tail piece with the thread on it which screws into the radiator. Now there's already a little bit of thread on there anyway, but this thread tape which is on there is called PTFE, or thread sealing tape, which you must use, otherwise if it's just metal to metal it would leak. So you need to put this round, it's nice and soft and it causes a seal in there. Now if you look at the thread on there, it's a tapered thread, very slightly, it's wider at the bottom there than it is at the top. So as you screw it in, it gets tighter and tighter and causes the seal. So what we're going to do is put a little bit more PTFE on here, because there won't be enough. I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is the actual tape here. Like I said, it's called PTFE or thread tape. It's quite inexpensive. And what you do, you hold the tail piece upwards like that. Now this is the critical part, it has to be wound on a certain way. If you do it the wrong way, it will unravel and come off. So if you're putting it up like that, you start off there and you do it clockwise. It's very important that you do that. If you do it the other way, like I say, as you start to screw it in, it will come off. So just get hold of get a start on there like that, and then just when it's on there, just wind it round. Once it's gone round a couple of times, it will hold itself. So now it's holding itself. You'd put this on here about between 7 and 12 times, depending on the thickness of this tail piece and the size of the, because sometimes it can be a bit sloppy. I know this one's a little bit of a loose fit, so I'm going to put a bit on. This is going to be like around about 8 wraps. So that's it, pull it off like that and just push it down, and that's all ready to go on. And before you screw it in, make sure you put the nut, this is the captive nut, on this type of valve. The captive, this is the 3/4, needs to go over the top of that first. So this needs screwing into that's the male piece, by the way, and that's the female socket there, so it needs to screw into there. So I can start screwing it in finger tight, but it needs to get a bit of pressure on it, so we need a tool to actually screw this in. Now if you look on the end there, you'll see a hexagonal nut, opening inside there, which is actually 13mm. Now at ABD Tools we do a tool, it's called the 13mm Allen key, tailpiece Allen key. Now that fits inside there, and we're going to be able to screw it in using this. You can use this two ways. You can use it high leverage there, or you can use it quick screw in there. Use it both ways. So I'm going to start that off now finger tight. I'm screwing it in finger tight now. You can feel it getting tight already. So now I would use the long end of the Allen key and push that in there and just turn it like that. It's now going in nicely. It's starting to get a little bit tight, so I want the leverage, so I'd use the other end now and put that in there and just tighten up. Sometimes you have to hold the radiator, because you can pull the radiator off a bracket with this sometimes, so put your hand on the radiator and just screw that in like that. And that's that'll be watertight now. That will be watertight, I can feel it. Now the next thing is to fit the valve. Now the nut here is already on the pipe and the olive is already on. You get this with the valve. Now what I usually do, it's kind of a plumber's trick, is just wrap the olive a couple of times with PTFE, and it kind of softens the olive and gives a better seal, a much better seal. Just a couple of times, just wrap a couple around like that, and it gives it a nice seal. Just pull it off. Incidentally, it doesn't matter which way you go with that, it makes no difference whether you go that way or that way, it doesn't make any difference. So that is now ready, the olive and the pipe to go into the cup. This is called a cup section here, and then it'll, as the nut comes up, it will compress the olive round there into the bottom of there and cause a seal. Now some people put PTFE tape on these threads. Never do that, it's pointless, it might even make it worse. Don't know why they do it, but they do. Putting thread tape round here, the seal is there, not on the thread. That's just a mechanical way of pulling the olive into there. That's all the thread is for on this. Now before I put that on, you've got on here, on the face of this here, which will go onto the inner face of this. On this one you've got a nice rubber O-ring fitted on this already, so it'll give a really nice seal in there. Some of them you haven't got the O-ring, you need to put some sort of compound inside here. Only a light smearing, or sort of a Boss White, or there's all kind of Hawk White, and there's all kinds. Go to your Plums Merchants and you'll get some. Just smear some, not too much, you don't want to block the valve up, just some around there. So when you've done that, you drop that on there, offer the nut up underneath, and just finger tight screw it so it still spin round. Still spins, then pull it back and then just offer it onto there like that, and then get the capsif nut and it should just screw onto the thread like that. That's a beautiful fit. It's just finger tight now. Now we need to tighten that up. Now some people would use a great big pair of shifting spanners on there, and you've got to hold this valve when you do it. You must hold that because it'll start to spin. If you put pressure on that, the valve will spin. Now, a lot of people use something like these water pump pliers and grip it like that. Now it will do it, maybe, but it will also mark and damage the soft chrome with the teeth. I've done it myself. It's not nice, but there's no other way of doing it. So if you hold that like that and tighten it up, it will work, but every chance you will damage the valve. So at ABD Tools we do this tool here called the rad wrench, and that will hold it steady while we tighten this up. We also do a spanner particularly made for this called a rad spanner. It's an ABD Tools rad spanner, and on this one you've got the bigger end which will fit the 3/4 BSP there, and the smaller end which is 1/2 inch BSP which will fit this nut here. Sometimes you can get these nuts in the middle, so you can use this for both that one and that one. It depends. This particular spanner will fit any nut on the valves. So what we do is we'll put the rad wrench on there. We need to pull this nut down with the bigger end, pull it down and hold the valve in place with that. So you pull that one up and the other one down, and that's now nicely tightening up. Give it a final push, keeping that valve steady. Doesn't need to be tight with these really. Just give it a bit of a push like that. That's tight. Now that's done. Just check out the side, that's nice and vertical. Now we just need to tweak that up. So we use the other end of the spanner, put that on there, and just tighten that up. That goes on absolutely beautifully. Just hold the valve and give it a final tight like that. Not over tighten it, because you can strip and make a right mess of it. It doesn't need to be super tight. Now that, I can guarantee you, is watertight and ready for use. So that's it. That's how you fit one of these angle pattern radiator valves. We do rad spanner and rad wrench at ABD Tools, or we do them both together, which we call this the union splitter, or we do the 13mm Allen key for screwing the tail pieces in. There's another aspect of these. Sometimes on these you get a couple of lugs inside, not a hex. You can use those cutouts there which will fit nicely onto the lugs and turn it in. Also on top of this you get on the end a bleed key, so it's like an air vent key for obviously bleeding the air out of the radiator. So it's an all-in-one tool that. It's a very, very good tool, very, very useful. There's no other way you can do it, to be honest with you. So that's the tool sets and the way you do it, and that's the information from ABD Tools, and I hope that helps, and happy plumbing, and thanks for watching.